welcome to the Entrepreneur Success Formula podcast, where we get down to earth with real entrepreneurs who work hard and know that success is more than a mindset, because it takes blood, guts, and a bucket full of luck to survive and thrive in the world of business today. My name is Damian Smyth, and I am the author of the Entrepreneur Success Formula and the host for today's, although it's like tonight here, tonight's show. And I'm going to be asking 10 quick-fire questions to today's entrepreneurial guest, who is the incredible Dr. Steve Taubman, who provides mental resilience and resourcefulness through focus. Because this is important, whether tackling engagement, retention, stress, or sales, savvy business leaders realize that unseen mental patterns keep people and organizations stuck, ineffective and unhappy, and they block positive change. Anyway, mindful mindset expert Dr. Steve helps people discover their blind spots and awaken their true potential, and he is awesome. So Dr. Steve, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, and you're awesome too, so thank you.
Thank you so much for getting on. And you know, I've seen some of your talks and you know, your work, and it's amazing and you're brilliant. So yes, welcome, fantastic. How did you start your business? You know, when did you start, and how did you get your first customers?
I was a chiropractor for a number of years. I got out of chiropractic school, started running a practice. I started learning about professional business concepts and success principles, and I built a very large practice. Got to a point in my practice where I realized that I was no longer having fun. And I thought that enjoying your life and doing it in a way that really works is important. So I tried to revamp my experience of excitement for a while. I realized there was something more for me, and I took a year off.
Good stuff.
And I recreated my life as first as a hypnotist, doing stage hypnosis. I was the official hypnotist for MTV's Spring Break. And I started that by, you know, developing the skills, and then just putting the word out everywhere, letting people know what I was doing, and then doing a great job, and bringing unique ideas to the business.
How did you get your first speaking gig?
First speaking gig was, it was through an introduction. I was invited to a conference, I'd studied hypnosis as a therapeutic tool as well as a stage tool. And so I went to a conference where there were a number of important people, and I let them come with me up to my room, and I did some hypnotherapy with a few people. And I changed a few people's lives very quickly.
Nice.
And one of those people was a woman who runs the Direct Selling Women's Alliance, an alliance of over 600,000 women worldwide. So she invited me to speak on her stage, and I became a staple of their organization, speaking at conferences. I have the distinction of being one of the very last people, I think maybe the last person, to share a stage with Zig Ziglar before he died.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. That's going in the highlights. I love that. That's brilliant. Well, listen, what's been the biggest mental challenge that you've had? And crucially, did you help yourself out of it through hypnosis?
Great question. Yeah, so my biggest challenge was and always has been anxiety or self-esteem. You know, just feeling like I'm good enough and I'm worthy of the work that I have to offer the world. And what I've learned through not just hypnosis, but through mindfulness practices, learning to self-reflect and become quiet. And what that's done for me is it's given me a little distance from my own thinking. So, you know, you and I both like to talk to people about how important our thoughts are to our outcomes. Mm-hmm. The problem is that for most people, they're so caught up in their own heads that they can't see their own thoughts, in the same way that the fish doesn't see the water.
Yeah.
It becomes the sum total of our experience. We can't see beyond it. But by meditating, I learned how to step away from my thinking and observe it from afar. And so from there, I started practicing the art of not believing everything I think.
You and me both. Yeah.
And it's very freeing. It's like, okay, you know, I mean, I know how I could think. I know how my brain habitually wants to think, but I've trained myself to think differently and to see possibility and to very quickly notice when I'm not being resourceful.
The hardest ones to do that, for anyone listening and wondering what we're talking about, is when you're in it. Yeah. When you're the fish in the water, and then you got the little voice in your head going, you know, this is BS, and you're going, yeah, but it really doesn't feel like it.
It feels real. It's like I always say, your ego will always try to convince you that whatever it's thinking is vitally important, and you've got to be thinking it now. It's like, so people try to work out the problem, when in reality, it's just like you got to get out of the water, basically.
Yeah. Or go for a walk. That's what I do.
Mhm.
And then yeah, just surround yourself with nature. If you had to start all over again from scratch, what's the very first thing that you would do? Now, this could be like a tip or a technique for anyone starting a new business over.
I'd probably call Damian first, and I'd.
That's very good.
In all honesty, I think what I would do differently is I would like very quickly give up all of my hubris, all of my pride, and I would let myself be coached.
Yeah.
I think any of us could do a lot better and get there a lot more quickly if we just follow a path that somebody else already tried.
Do you know, I actually had that. I had an insight today, which was just, it so freed me. I've been working on something called ClickFunnels, and some people will know what that is, some people won't, but basically, I've been working through ClickFunnels and I've been doing the work.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I've been
And I
there.
suddenly thought, I've got a coach for like pretty much everything else. Why don't I just get a ClickFunnels coach?
There you go. That's
Guess
fantastic.
what? Someone does it. They're in Australia, but it's like she's a specialist ClickFunnels coach, and I just like purchase. It's like,
Love it. I love it. Well, that's perfect. That's perfect. I recently, in the wake of this whole pandemic thing, I haven't been able to be on stages, which is how I've mostly made my living, is in front of lots of people. And so I decided, well, let me take my training as a hypnotist and apply it therapeutically, which I can do online. I can hypnotize somebody over the phone,
brilliant.
hypnotize them over a computer, and I could do my mindfulness practices and training with individuals. And so I started an individual one-on-one service for which I have never done any marketing whatsoever. And I started to try to figure out how to market myself and how to get the word out there. And I was starting to do what I thought was the best thing to do, which was very tedious. And then I finally woke up. I said, why am I doing it this way? There are people who are expert in that area.
Mhm.
And so I got on Upwork, Upwork, right? It's
Yeah, oh
like,
yeah.
I love Upwork. So I posted a job for somebody to essentially drive traffic to my website for me.
Hmm.
And so I've taken that entire part of the business off my plate. I've given it to somebody who's expert in that area. And now I can concentrate more fully on the things I'm really good at.
Love it. That's brilliant. Okay, this one, because we're now a truly international show. So if you're in charge of US business right now,
Mhm.
what would be the one thing that you would legislate to help entrepreneurs?
Uh, I would tell any entrepreneur right now that this is probably the best time you'll ever have to retool your business, to really look it over through the eyes of curiosity.
Yeah.
That look at your business as if you're 5 years old. Well, my friend Jeff Hoffman says, Jeff from the founder of Priceline,
Hmm.
and he and I are both working on a book called The Power of Wonder. And we both believe that looking at everything through the eyes of wonder means you're looking at it as if you're seeing it for the first time. If you're an entrepreneur right now and you're beating your head against the wall trying to figure out why you can't keep doing things the way you always did them before, you're missing a very powerful opportunity. It's
Mm.
the opportunity to sort of forget about trying to do things the way you did them before and just look at them as if you're seeing them for the first time. And I'll tell you what, you're going to find all the duplication and all the redundancy and all the inefficiency. And you could start really building something very different and very new and enjoy doing it
Yeah.
because this is the time.
Absolutely, and it really opens up to adaptability, and also, when governments are throwing money at us, which they
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
it's a really good time to do it. If you
So,
don't like the clients you've got, get new ones.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, what has been your best marketing tactic and why? The Upwork one is brilliant. It was great, great example.
Yeah, for me, there have been a number of things I've done that have been really valuable for me. For ultimately because I think well on my feet and I enjoy being in front of groups of people. Most of my marketing is being in front of people, whether it's speaking for free at a Rotary Club or usually on large stages in front of many people. That ultimately becomes the seed for my next success. But Facebook Lives have been helpful.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then also strategizing about how to reach decision makers. Sometimes you've got to go around and do an end run. So if your business requires that you reach out to decision makers, you're doing a B2B business, and the person that you need to reach is a CEO or somebody who is well insulated by their gatekeepers. How do you bypass the gatekeeper? So one example of something that I'll do is I'll send a personal greeting card. We call it a thank you card in advance. So as if we've already done work. We've already spent time with each other. So I say, hey, Damian, I just wanted to send you this card and thank you so much for the wonderful work you're doing. And I appreciate taking a little time to let us get to know each other. And by the way, here's a $25 gift certificate from Starbucks. Go have a cup of coffee on me.
Love it. That's brilliant. I love that. It's great. That's really good. Okay, what is your favorite business book and why?
I love 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great book. The E-Myth is another great book. And I don't read that many business books. I read a lot of personal development books and a lot of mindset related business books. And of course, that's kind of what I write also. So one of my favorite business books is Bulletproof.
I bought it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, the subtitle is, what if everything that bugged you, blocked you, or brought you down didn't? This is a question that entrepreneurs need to ask themselves every day, because your momentum is constantly being interrupted by the seeming obstacles, some of which are real and most of which are up in your head. And the things that you let bother you, the things that you let bring you down, are slowing your progress. And the person who could kind of keep a positive attitude and stay in a resourceful space no matter what is the person who's going to get there first. And as you know, in business, who gets there first wins.
Can I also show people that it is available on Audible as well? So, there we go. It's in there somewhere.
And when you hold it up like that, you disappear.
Yeah, it's brilliant. These backgrounds are amazing. Okay, so are you a night owl or an early bird? And what is either your morning or evening routine?
I'm more a night owl, although being a night owl used to mean going out. And now being a night owl means
Yeah.
my most creative time. So I wake up in the morning and I've got my dog Woody, who is right over there.
Hello, Woody. Oh, cute.
He's sleeping through this. I guess we're not enticing him enough. We go for a nice long walk. I do a little meditating. I take my shower. I have a bite to eat. I don't do any business until at least 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So, and now that doesn't mean I'm not thinking and planning and maybe writing in my head, but I don't interact with other business people. I don't let myself take business calls, because between about 7:30 and 10 a.m., it's really me preparing myself mentally and spiritually for my day. So I want to really dive in with lots of focus, and I can't do that if I'm, if I haven't done all the things I need to do.
Love it. We're the same. I do exactly the same. I've got 90 minutes in the morning that I segment off. It's called Walk and Audio. And I go for a nice long walk and I listen to an audio book and I also do a bit of meditation. So I love that. Okay. So what do you think your business or industry is going to look like in 50 years from now? I know it's a long way off and we've got exponential leaps in technology, but what do you think it's going to look like?
I think it's the holograms. I think as a
speaker,
we're going to see like what we're doing right now. I think would be much more of a holographic experience, So and also, so the gamification side of this thing, where you're starting to see, rather than just watching a Zoom, you kind of walk into a room and you push a button and you watch a video over there. So I think it's going to be much more interactive, much more experiential, much more of a virtual reality kind of an experience.
I love that. That is so cool, isn't it? It's like we will actually have that ability to. Well, we can already do it. I mean, we can do it already. Yeah. I mean, I've got a building, a guy who works in building, and they do these walkthroughs in buildings where you're actually basically on a travelator, but it's you're walking through on the travelator, and it moves as you're walking. You can still go left and right, and it kind of moves around. You've got the headset on, and you're basically in the artificial intelligence building. It's brilliant. Love it. Fantastic. Okay, so. Really important question now. What is your favorite business or entrepreneurial movie? Actually, it doesn't have to be business or entrepreneurial, but it will have to have like a metaphor in it that kind of gets that across. And if they made a movie about you and your business, who would play the starring role?
Clearly it would have to be somebody, a great and very good-looking actor. I'm gonna take George Clooney to play me.
I think he could. He could.
And speaking of which, what was that movie called? I think it was called Up in the Air. It was with George Clooney, and he was he was a business coach, and he was traveling around the country and speaking to
Yes.
various stages and everything. That was a great movie. Didn't have much of a message, but it was a great movie. You know what?
Don't
For
cheat on
me,
your wife. That was the message.
I don't, you're right, exactly. The one of the movies that always comes back to me is well, two movies that come to Pay It Forward, because the message of Pay It Forward is so powerful. I think that, you know, we all come from a scarcity model as we grow up, and learning to come from a place of infinite potential and prosperity. The idea, you know, I'm going to pay it forward. It's just this kind of recognition that what I give will come back, and what I'm given, I will give out, and I become less, you know, held back and less, greedy about my life if I'm able to just keep giving and giving and giving. So Pay It Forward was a great movie for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And as entrepreneurs, I think that's one of the messages that we all need to give ourselves. The other one is the movie Shawshank Redemption, which is probably my favorite movie. And in Shawshank Redemption, you've got this guy who's able to maintain a positive attitude in very, very harsh circumstances while simultaneously planning his way out. Right.
Love it.
So those are the two things we need to be able to do in our lives. We need to simultaneously be able to maintain a positive attitude wherever we are, despite our circumstances, but at the same time, planning our way out.
Speaking of which, what are your plans for expansion and exit? Or exit? Don't know. I mean, you're like me. It's like you're going to carry on doing this till our last breath.
I am. I think that I don't see myself, looking for, like, I don't go out looking for a new way of being. I just sort of see where my interests, where my spiritual nose takes me, so to speak. So for me, if I look at the course of my life, I see that I've done a lot of things that all have many things in common. And whether I was a physician, or I was a speaker, or a hypnotist, or whatever, they all had a similar attribute, which was helping people to uncover their sense of potential. Even if I'm doing comedy and I'm making people laugh, what does a laughter do? It breaks the pattern.
Yeah.
Right. And so everything I'm doing is really about pattern breaking. And I don't know what else I could possibly do to break patterns, but when I discover it, I'll do it.
Well, I'm really looking forward to listening to your book. I'm taking it on holiday with me. I've got the audio version. So apart from, the book Bulletproof, which is available on Amazon, and you can get it through Audible as well, where else can people get hold of you?
Well, if you want to get in my world, Best of Steve is a good place to start, bestofsteve.com. And what Best of Steve is it's a landing page, and you'll have an opportunity to pick up a free digital download of the first chapter of the book. So
fantastic.
Try before you buy. And then you'll be on my mailing list. And of course, my mailing list is really just weekly wisdom tips, which are usually fun. I usually have something interesting to say. I like to go back and read it myself.
Fantastic. Steve, you've been a fantastic guest, superb nuggets of wisdom in there. And thank you so much for taking this brief delve into the real lives of real entrepreneurs. Can I ask that you share this with your list, and also anyone who you think works hard? And listeners, if you could like us on iTunes and subscribe on YouTube, as we're going out on both. And if you would like to take part in the show, or someone who would be a great candidate for being interviewed by me, simply drop me an email, Damian with an A, at rethinkingbusiness.biz, and we can have a chat. And Dr. Steve, here's to your future success and doing some more of the live shows when we come out of this weirdness. And thank you so much for taking part.
Your pleasure.
Fantastic. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you.